What is up, my dudes? Welcome back to Storytime with your favorite Reddit fairy. My name is Lorna, and today we've got some r/choosing beggars. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. Guy tries to haggle the price of a bed that I had already marked down for him. Posted by user iDoneStatic. So this happened a while ago, but anyway. I was selling my queen-size bed online for $150 AUS with my second-hand mattress. It was a custom-designed bed, and it was gorgeous. A guy called, and he tried to haggle with me. After talking to my wife, we agreed to go down to $100 if he picked it up the same day. We were moving the next day. So he comes up, likes it, and suggests that we sell it for $50. I'm like, no way. I've already knocked $50 off of it. He insists that it's for his pregnant wife and that he can't afford any more than that and didn't bring any more with him. After questioning why he came down to begin with, he deflected the question and tried to push a $50 note in my hand. After saying no, he called me unreasonable and muttering, "This is ridiculous." Eventually, he agreed to go talk to his wife outside and come back. Told me he'd be 5 minutes. So he left, and we waited. And waited. Went outside and his truck was gone. Never came back. Facebook Marketplace for ya. I don't understand. Like, you guys agreed on a price. You already knew what the price was. Why do people do this? Why? What is this breed that has come about of these choosing beggars that just think they can offer whatever the hell they want and get away with it, and you're just gonna bully the person into accepting it? Like, get the fuck out of here. Cheapo tries to shortchange me. Posted by user nope-nope-nope-nope. Might be in the wrong sub, but whatever. Background. I live in a city famous for cheesesteaks and rocky on the East Coast, USA. I work in the construction industry as a general tradesman. For those of you not familiar with that exact title, a general contractor will hire me to do menial trade work, but still requires a certain level of skill that he doesn't want to pay a master at the trade for. For example, a master electrician will make $80 to $100 an hour for his work, but a general contractor will pay me $35 an hour to rough in the electric on a new construction or wire a few switches to save money by not having the electrician do the more menial labor for his elevated rate. I do this for HVAC, plumbing, electric, carpentry, etc. Everyone tracking? Good. Now I also do side work, which I charge significantly more for than what I charge the contractor I work for. He gets a nice discount on my labor because he gave me 30 to 50 hours a week consistently. This will all make sense when the story gets going. Me, malfunctioning erection. Mark, fake name, weird homeowner. So about a year ago, I worked on a new construction almost every day for about a month, and the really wired couple that ordered the construction were around a lot, being generally annoying, being the, "Oh, you missed the spot" people, which is all whatever. You get that a lot with homeowners. They were weird, but saw me doing a bunch of different types of things around the house and asks if they can have my number to be a handyman in the future. Of course I complied. I'm not one to turn down work. A week ago, I get a text from the couple asking me if I wanted to take on a job turning a new shed into their backyard into like a hangout pad for their 15-year-old son with electric, heat, air, drywall, the whole shebang. I said that sounds fucking awesome, and I got excited even thinking about building it. I quoted them $3,000 for the project and told them it would probably take me 3 days. They happily agreed, and we signed an extremely rudimentary one-page contract that basically says, I do this, you agree to pay that. I did the project. They loved it. Everyone lived happily ever after, right? Wrong. Me. All right, guys, I had a lot of fun doing this. I know I quoted you $3,000, but it looks like it's going to be $1,200 for my labor and $1,000 in materials because I got some of it on sale, so $2,200 total. I thought this would make them jump for joy that I came in at $800 less than the quote. Nope. Mark, where did you get the $1,200 in labor? Me. I charge $50 an hour for my time. The project took me 24 total hours. I can double check my math on that though, knowing that my math is right. He then proceeds to give me a gotcha moment and pull out the giant stack of papers from when his house was built, and it is listed out that I, as a general tradesman, made $35 an hour on the job. Mark. It says here that you work for $35 an hour, so I'm going to pay you $8.40 for your labor and $1,000 in material, not a penny more. I tried explaining that I charge different people different rates, especially my main employer. I tried telling him that he signed a contract. Didn't want to hear it. He cut me off and he holds up a check for $18.40 and Mark. Take this or it's nothing. So I take it. That's where I'm at now, fuming in my truck. I wish I could say I told him to go fuck himself, but I need that money to feed my kids and pay my mortgage, and it can't wait for a court battle. Edit 1. One of the biggest things I'm upset about is that he's trying to fuck me over for honest work. I really try to be fair and honest with people in a construction industry filled with a lot of crooks. I didn't have to tell these people what I got the materials for, but it's the right thing to do. And so far in my life, karma has come back to me. People appreciate being treated fairly, and 99% of the time return the favor. Sorry guys, I'm just sitting in my parking lot venting. Oh my god, my dude, you vent away. That's fucking balls. That's bullshit. Like, you signed a contract. You can take them to court for that, I guess. I don't know if it would be worth it after court costs and everything, but you could put that in the case too, that you want your court costs reimbursed. But that's fucked, man. Why do people try to take advantage of good people? There's so many assholes in this world. Ugh. Selling my old graphics card to one of my mom's Facebook friends. Ugh. Posted by user quick_boy. Okay, so basically I was selling one of my old graphics cards as I upgraded mine, was selling my old one off dirt cheap, and my mom, unfortunately, told someone she knew that was also looking for a graphics card to learn how to use editing software. So I messaged him after my mom told me I should and see if he wants it, and it goes like this. A being me and OM is old man. Me. Hi. If you still want the card, you can have it for £35 if you pick it up today. As I said, I was selling it dirt cheap. A couple of hours later, I get this message back. Old man. Hi, Ashley. Yes, I am interested, but try to check to see if it is compatible with Adobe Premiere Pro CS6 video editing program. It took him 2 hours to Google it. Old man. Yes, I would like it, please. Me. Alright, cool. When can you pick it up? So he told me again another hour later. Old man. This afternoon. I will need your address, please. So I told him my address and I got back. Old man. Okay, see you soon. Thanks. And the time was about 4 p.m. and I didn't hear anything from him until 8 p.m. So I sent him around 3 messages asking where he was and if he still wanted it, and even asked if he got lost and gave him my mobile number, and still nothing. 9 p.m. rolled around, so I said, Hi, I was wondering if you still want it as it's getting a little late. And the worst part about this, all I got back was, Old man, no thanks. And then one of the like emojis on Facebook. I said all right and left it at that, put it on the marketplace as I wasn't urgent to sell it, so I didn't think much of it. And around about 11:30 p.m. rolls around and I get this message. Old man, I came over to you only to find that you didn't open the door. I knocked and rang the doorbell, especially after I walked all around the housing estate to find you. First of all, I have CCTV and no one came, and I was waiting for him to come. Second of all, why would you walk around my estate looking for me? So I thought that was a bit weird. So I said, Are you sure you have the right house? As my estate is pretty hard to get around and can easily get lost or wind up in a different way. Old man, no, I went to your white door and knocked multiple times and even rang your doorbell. The funny thing about this is that I don't have a doorbell and my door is blue. I told him this and said, "You must have gone to the wrong door. It's still here if you want to come back and get it, or I can deliver it for free if you're local." I decided to be nice. He's fairly old, maybe late 70s or early 80s, and this was the final message I got from him and decided to block him and not deal with him anymore. "Well, it's your fault I went to the wrong house. You should have waited outside for me." Can I add he didn't tell me a time and he just said afternoon? "You should take the time to deliver it to me for free. I'm not paying for it." I was blindsided by it. I didn't know what to say or do, so I blocked him. 20 minutes roll by and he fucking calls me, screaming and shouting down the phone saying, "You owe him petrol money and the graphics card." And I couldn't get a word in edgewise, so I hung up. It's around 1 a.m. right now, and I need to go to bed to work the next day. And he kept calling, so I blocked his number. And in the morning, I told my mom, and apparently he came into my mom's work saying I was shouting at him and saying I wanted 5 times the amount I said I would sell it for. And one thing led to another, and he's now banned from my mom's bakery. He goes there pretty much every day and tries to go there every week when he thinks my mom's not working. But all of her workers that know him and don't let him in. Holy cow. Man, this is what happens when old people don't have anything to do, I guess. But I think he might be suffering from some kind of dementia or something, though. I think he should be in a home if he's losing time. He says, "I'll be there this afternoon," and shows up at some rando's house at like whatever time that was, 11, 12 a.m. or something, 11 p.m., 12 a.m. I don't know, but I think that old dude needs some help or some friends or something. Jeez. A person contacted me asking to help her find a 1,500 rent-stabilized apartment in New York City for less than $2,000. Posted by user landlordlinksnet. I received the most unusual apartment request. It's so far out there that I wonder if this person is even real. Here goes. I was reading one time some article apropos of something completely unrelated to my apartment search, and there was an interview with a woman who lived in a rent-stabilized loft in Tribeca of 2,000 square feet. I want to know, in your experience, is a rent-controlled space in Tribeca of even 1,500 square feet something that it would be possible to find, either on my own with your guidance, or is it something that you think you would be able to find for me at any point? For anyone who isn't familiar with apartments in New York City, they're tiny, and when they're not, the landlord usually cuts them up, and a studio apartment, one room, is rented out for approximately $2,000, which is the entirety of this person's budget. A realistic price for an apartment that is approximately 1,500 square feet is $8,500. See, this is why I don't want to live in those big cities like that. Like, Toronto's the same right now. It's insane. Like, they're just big houses that are split up into separate units, and there's no soundproofing, and it's just extremely expensive. And there's like a house there could go for like $2-3 million, and where I'm from, it'd go for like $200,000 to $300,000. So depending on the market, like, I just don't understand why anybody would want to live in those places. Unless you're like a really social person, which I'm not, so I guess I could see that being a reason, but not for me, my dudes, not for me. I like the forest. You treat me like that? I treat you the same way. Posted by user Cuppy Monster. Was in the ER last night. Ended up leaving after 2 hours because we heard people say they had been there since midday and had been shuffled to another hospital and back again. Homeless dude goes up and asks the triage nurse how long it'll be, obviously told that they don't really know. Homeless guy asks if there's any food because he's been waiting so long. Triage bro goes and gets him a sandwich from the back, even asked if he had any allergies to any foods. Triage bro came back. I don't really hear what's happening until homeless dude says, "You treat me like that? I'll treat you the same way, and walks out. I see Triage Bro throw the sandwich away, and when his colleagues ask what happened, he threw the sandwich on the floor because I didn't bring him a drink. What the fuck? Homeless guy then sat outside the ER till at least when we left. Motherfucking choosy beggar. Oh, that guy had to have been at least a little bit mentally ill. I feel bad for him, but yeah, that's pretty fucked. If you're that hungry, you didn't ask for a drink. You asked for some food. Oh man. What does he think he is? Like a mind reader? Or I feel so bad for the triage bro in that case. Jeez. He seems like a nice guy. Oh well. I don't want to go, but still give me what I want. Posted by user DStriker120. So, this wasn't something that happened to me, but in front of me. This was a few years back, so it's paraphrased. I was in a college American history class at the time. Our professor was amazing. I really love her. She told us next class we would have a guest speaker and she wouldn't be there. It would count as a project grade as long as you participate in the discussion. She wasn't going to be there, just the speaker, because she was visiting her brother dying of brain cancer. Really sad story. Someone thought that was the perfect time to take advantage. Next class, everyone but one guy shows up. He was pretty flaky, so not a big surprise. At the end of the class, the speaker tells us to come up to him and say our name. He could check we were there, and he would know if we did a good job participating. We line up, go through, he checks, all good. I was last in line, right after I gave my name. ChoosingBeggar casually strolls in the door and stands behind me. After the speaker checked me off, I stood in the doorway for a moment. I really hoped he wouldn't give the guy credit for not coming, but most speakers would have. This was the conversation. ChoosingBeggar. Hey, so I'm ChoosingBeggar. Can you check me off? Speaker. What? You weren't here. What were you doing? ChoosingBeggar. I slept in. Professor isn't here today. I figured it would be fine. Speaker. Professor went out of her way to arrange a speaker. She was also kind enough to give you an important grade for basically just showing up. ChoosingBeggar. If Professor isn't here, I shouldn't have to be. So, can you check me off? Speaker. You are being so rude. You decided to take the day off and then stroll in at the last minute and get credit for the thing everyone else actually did? You chose not to come, so you chose to get a 0. And because of your attitude, I will be sure to talk to Professor personally about your actions. I couldn't laugh out loud because that would be rude, and I didn't want to have him speak about 2 students to Professor, especially since I respect her so much. She's one of the few people in the world who I care about her opinion of me. She even helped me arrange a volunteer trip to India. And we planned on going together through the school to a sister university there. Unfortunately, it was right around when we started looking into it, her brother passed away. She was kind and fair, but she didn't take shit. ChoosingBeggar knew he would never get away with shit like that if she were there. But because she was with her ill brother, he thought he could get an A for being an ass. He failed the class. Not just from this, he was a bad student. TLDR, guy tried to take advantage of our professor visiting her dying brother by demanding he get credit for not showing up. Ugh. I wonder if this is one of those kids that get their whole life paid for to get them through everything. Because he seems awfully entitled, so this could be an entitled, this should be an entitled kids or entitled people or entitled asshole or something like that too, I think. Oh, so gross. ChoosingBeggar customer doesn't know when to stop. Posted by user MinxCat. So I work in the home moves department of an energy company in England, to which just finished my shift in which this occurred today. Had a customer call though, saying they moved into an address with the wife and kids, in which when checking said address, found the electric had recently been registered to be taken over by the company as a business account, in which gas already with us as business, but with over 2,000 debt on it. With any debt over £100, it's standard to ask for proof to take over. As soon as I said customer for proof, such as a tenancy agreement or completion documents, they hung up. Usually with hangups or disconnections, we're told to try and call the customer back, but I got a feeling there was something going on, and when I checked the account notes, that feeling was correct. Since 12 p.m., there had been 11 other advisors in the account. I got the call around 2 p.m., taking calls from this person, all with the exact same result of the call ending as soon as they asked for proof, which means the customer was actually a business owner trying to get residential rates. I checked the account before I left at 4 p.m. and found the advisor count was up to 20 and had even been passed to revenue and protect due to the number of calls. The guy will never get the account updated, but I dread to think of the phone bill they are creating. Such a shame there was no wait times for my department. Holy shit. Oh, don't. And these people, like, you're giving business to these people that are clearly scam artists. Like, just pay your bills. What the fuck? If you can't pay your bills, maybe you shouldn't be in business. But at the same time, I know like energy costs are going like really, really high now. And so there might be a whole other backstory to this that we don't know about. Maybe they recently had some kind of tax implemented, energy taxes implemented that have skyrocketed their bills or something. I don't know. Like, but we don't really know why they're not paying their bills. So, I mean, they could be a legit person suffering, but then you gotta kind of, you gotta cut your loss at some point, I guess. I don't know. I'm probably gonna get attacked in the comments for this one, but please don't get me wrong. High energy costs are not fun to deal with, and I've seen businesses have to close because of them. Businesses that were great businesses, too, so I don't know. It's a tough situation to judge, I guess. A literal choosing beggar. Posted by user The Raging Dead. This happened yesterday. I was leaving a tabletop gaming store with my wife to go home and a man came up to us mumbling. It seemed clear he was hoping for something. I managed to make out that he was looking for money for food. I told him I didn't have any money on me, which was totally true. I am not a rich man, but that he could have the drink I was carrying if he was thirsty. He said he didn't need anything to drink, but eventually asked what it was. I said it was Coke, that I'd only taken a couple of sips and it was good. He took it somewhat reproachfully, without making any efforts to show appreciation. As I walked away, I heard him sulk, "No ice?" And it kind of blew my mind. Been stuck in there since, so I figured I'd put it up here. Comments. Beggars hang out by tabletop gaming stores. Don't know why. Centurion Sasquatch says. Is this true? Interesting. Yep, that's a literal choosing beggar, I would say. I don't like ice in my pop either. I don't really drink pop. Oh, is that the Canadian showing in me? I called it pop. Where's all the soda people in the comments? Let me see you. I think other places, I think Australia maybe, you guys call it juice? I don't know, I could be wrong. Moving on. Am I a choosing beggar? Posted by user Different Film. Saw that my boss had shoes he wanted to send back to the store when I came into his office. He asked me if I wanted them. I said they look good and maybe I could really need them. Saw the invoice. They were €165. Asked him how much he wanted them for. He told me $200. I asked him again what he wants for them, and he replied $199. So I said no thanks, and left his office. Didn't want them for free, for sure, but adding almost $40 is a bit shitty, I guess. No, I don't think OP is choosing beggar there. I wouldn't want to pay more than what he paid for. Like, that's just highway robbery. Like, why? Why, if he said, what? You saw the invoice. Why wouldn't he hide the invoice then? Like, I don't get it. This is gross. You're not the choosing beggar. Why? I don't get why people do this. Are they like rare? Are they like super rare that you can't find? Are they like the Pokemon of shoes? Like, I don't know. No backsies. A special kind of choosing beggar. Posted by user Olympus_13. This story happened back in 2016. I don't have all the text messages anymore, but they're in Dutch anyway, so the messages are paraphrased to my best recollection. It's kind of strange how this story evolved towards a choosing beggar, so bear with me. If it's not considered a choosing beggar story, feel free to delete. Setting: I just became a dad in 2016. Hey, congrats! Sometime later, I get a text message from one of my cousins. She had recently divorced her husband and moved to a smaller place. She still had a garage full of kid stuff that she wanted gone. She had already tried selling some stuff online, but there was a lot left. She was going to donate it, so she offered that I come take a look first and pick whatever we would need. As a new dad, you never know when you have enough baby clothes and other stuff, so naturally I went over to see what we could use. I went through a few boxes of clothes and put aside some small things. I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was in the likes of 2 sets of PJs, some bibs, a sweater, 5 t-shirts, and 2 to 3 pairs of pants. Her: by the way, I've got some toys and other stuff in the garage as well. Want to come take a look? We already had quite a lot of stuff at home, but hey, having a look won't do any harm. I went through some stuff, found a cool toy, a book, and an anti-reflux pillow. Upon leaving, she brought up the pushcart she had, some kind of convertible pram, carriage, maxi cozy, and cradle all in one. She was pretty persuasive, and it was still in real good shape. We had a second-hand at home, but it was quite a bit older and worn out. Me: so I know those pushcarts aren't cheap. How much do you want for it? Her: you know what? Let's say 200 pounds for the pushcart. You can consider the rest of the stuff as a late birthday gift. Me: wow, that's pretty generous. Are you sure? Thanks. And I wired the money with my banking app. The following week, we tried out the pushcart. It turned out to be not very practical for our needs. Stuff we already had that wasn't compatible, didn't fit in our car very well when folded, etc. We decided to keep our worn-out pushcart and to get rid of the new one, so I reached out to my cousin through text. Me: hey cousin, we tried the pushcart for a few days, but it didn't fit our needs. We'd want to sell it, but it wouldn't feel right that we gain money from selling it compared to the price we paid you. So if you want, you can buy it back and sell it for yourself. Second-hand prices for this model were easily around 400 pounds. Her: oh, okay, I understand. Nice of you to contact me, blah blah. Wait for it. I'll give you 125 pounds. Me: wait, what? We tried it for less than a week and paid you 200 pounds for it. It's still as spotless as before. Her: yeah, but there were toys and clothes as well, so it was a combined price. The pillow you took was at least worth another 60 pounds. Retail price for this specific pillow was 65 pounds, by the way. Me: I thought those were a gift. Look, I just tried to be decent here and offer you the chance of getting some extra bucks for it. I could have chosen to not bring it up and sell it for 400 pounds myself. You wouldn't have even known. There's no way I'm going to sell it back to you and lose money on it. Her: yeah, sorry, you can't sell it. I was thinking, and maybe I'd still want another kid somewhere in the future, so I might need it then. Me: well, then you shouldn't have sold it in the first place. Are you kidding me? If you'd had sold it to anyone other than me, you wouldn't even have this opportunity. If I wouldn't have reached out of decency, you wouldn't either. Her: okay, 140, and that's my final offer. At this point, I could have just ignored her and sell the thing myself, but I decided to not risk a family feud over this. Me: you know what? I'll just bring everything back, gift or not, and you just pay me the whole thing back. End of discussion. So I did. I drove her up the next day, returning everything, making sure that it was in the exact same condition as we got it in. Rang the doorbell, handed the boxes and bags. Her: okay then. Here's your 180 pounds back. I don't know how I managed to not shove everything up her ass at that point. I pulled up my phone, showed her my banking app clearly stating that I transferred 200 pounds. And I saw her taking the extra 20 pounds out of the same damned envelope. So she damn well knew what the right amount was. She had the full amount ready, but tried to rip me off one last time. Needless to say, apart from the mandatory courtesy at family gatherings, we haven't really talked afterwards. I still felt all the anger boiling up while writing this. Oh, I would too, man. What a greasy, disgusting human. Like, how gross. Why would you think you have any claim to something after somebody's bought it from you? Like, ugh. I'm sorry, OP. What a horrible person to have in your family. That's just wrong. Just gross. Just a horrible person. Oh, moving on. Requesting multiple challenging translations for free and declining them because they don't fit him because of the changes in source text I was not aware of, making me work for free without any specified deadlines or warnings in the span of multiple weeks just because we are related? That's my dad. Posted by user maneric37. So I happen to have a pretty good command of Russian, my mother tongue, and English, my uni major. However, I'm not a translator or an interpreter. My family, though, they all think that just because I studied English in university, I'm automatically a certified translator who can translate all of their BS texts, emails, ad banners, etc. for them at any given time, and of course, for free. Which I do, because whatever, it's not a big deal. But behold, my estranged, genius businessman father decided it's finally time to exploit that knowledge of mine. He's a part of some kind of museum business and was requested to translate plaques describing architecture of old churches and historical sites. Already pretty challenging lingo with some specific vocabulary you don't just know. Oh, and the text were in Belarusian, the language of our country, which is almost dead and no one really knows or speaks that much, including me. And he just casually asked me to translate 3 pages of text for free for him, in a language I'm not proficient in. And about the subject I have no knowledge or vocabulary about. I'm not even a translator. And the deadline is this evening. Well, being a good person and daughter that I am, I agreed to do it. A bit of a challenge, but I will get a lot of experience. And besides, it's just a one-time thing, right? Fucking wrong. 2 months later, I wake up and see a bunch of messages dated 3 hours ago. I live in another country with a time zone difference, saying that I need to translate the text again because, well, he lost the translation I gave him. Okay, well, I tell him to scroll up in the chat where I sent him the documents and he'll find them. Few days go by with no reply, so I figured he found everything and will not bother me again. The situation repeats in a day. Same shit. I get kinda annoyed and just resend him the documents. 3 days later, he replies and claims these translations are wrong and not fitting because apparently the source text has been changed. I wasn't notified about it, and now everything has to be retranslated. Oh, and I have 2 hours to do that, because in 2 hours, this has to be submitted for printing. Yep, I not so politely explained that this is disrespectful and rude, that if you're requesting multiple free translations, I need to be notified in advance, explain the situation, and given any changes made to the source text. In short, Dad, you're kind of being an asshole. Perhaps it's not exactly a choosing beggar, but more of an entitled rude beggar. But still, I thought someone might find it amusing. Edit. I'm not proficient in Belarusian, the language of the source text, in case that there's a misunderstanding. Oh, God. It's like, you could consider people that are in tech support translators almost, because they translate an operating system and a software to you for you to be able to use it. So this is kind of almost the same thing, and we see this all the time with friends and family. Oh, hey, I don't have any money, but can you do this for me? I have don't look at this folder that's labeled top secret documents. No, it's not really porn that has infected my computer with a whole bunch of viruses. Yeah, that kind of sucks. Like, if they're gonna change shit on them, they're doing them a favor. You should be, making sure that he's up to date with all, or she is, I'm sorry. She said he was his daughter. So like she hasn't been updated with everything, and he's expecting her to do all this for free, like basically demanding it. I think that is a choosing beggar. All right, my dudes, and the last story of the day is called Going Backwards on a Deal? Fine, so can I. Posted by user GhostInShellMMS. So, back in the 90s, I had fully made my own PC from scratch for the first time, and in the process, I accidentally ended up with a box of hard drives instead of just one. Guess whoever picked the order messed up, and I ended with 12 hard drives, HDD, instead. I'm no saint, and I'm just a poor student, so I thought, why not try to sell these? So something similar to Craigslist, but locally in my country where people can sell new and used items, I posted there, stating a price of 20% under usual lowest price on the HDD, and typed I had a few to sell. Also stated I'm young and have no car, so they would have to come to me or could meet up in my nearest big city where I went for school if it was more convenient. Calls come in and I have 4 to 6 interested buyers. I note down their name and how many they want to buy and time and date for meetup. A few people try to negotiate prices since they come from a long distance away. I already told them it ain't going any further down. It's already 20% below market price and new unused item in its original pack. So no thanks. I've got plenty of people interested, so either you pay or no item. One of those answers with a fine. I'll come and get it at date and time. I sell most of these and no hassle whatsoever. People pay and are happy with a cheap, brand new hard drive. Until that guy shows up. First of all, he arrives 2 hours late. I'm already sitting gaming and doing other stuff home alone. Parents at work when the phone rings. The guy is lost. No problem. My house is on the countryside, so it can be hard to find. So I tell him to find my neighbor, which I have shared driveway with, and he finds it within a minute, all while I get shoes, coat, and the last 2 hard drives he was interested in out the door. Already here in my driveway, I had this feeling that something is off. Beat up old car. Looks fine, but old. Him wearing a suit like he has millions. Cheap watch. Very expensive shoes. In other words, this guy is all over the place, and upon shaking hands, he gives me one of the most fake smiles I've sadly seen too many times already in my life. The first thing he says, "It was a really long trip, and I've spent time looking for the address." Yeah, a whole minute. Me. I just stand there and say and do nothing. We already had this discussion over the phone. Him. "Is that the hard drives?" I hold them up so he can see them clearly. Me. "Yes, it is, and as promised, in an original packaging and all. You got the X cash?" Him. "I think I should get a discount. You didn't tell me it was this hard to find." Me. "Well then, I got another buyer or two. Be very happy soon then. I told you the price, and I told you they were already cheaper than retail, and consider your expensive suit and other things. I don't think you are even remotely as poor as I am, and my parents. So, on that note, have a nice day." Him. "What? I demand those hard drives. I'm already here. You can't go back on a deal." Me. "Well, thanks for stating that. Since you already went backward on the deal, offering a lower price than agreed, so can I. You can still buy them, now only 3% under retail price." Him, now going tomato red in the face, shouting profanities at me and threatens me with a lawsuit, etc. After he runs out of air and are silent for a full 5 seconds, I come back with, "Every time you do that, I'll increase the price. Now it's 15% above retail price." I'm quite sure I could see steam coming out of his ears to this day. He starts screeching again, and I just turn around and walk back towards my house. He follows a bit behind, still screaming. As I am at the house now looking back toward him out of breath again, I just can't help myself at this point. Me. 25% over retail price. Might have had a little smirk on my face there. He just turns around and stomps like a 3-year-old that didn't get his candy bag down to his car and angrily drives off. As stated, I phone a girl who happens to want 2 hard drives, and she even came the same day to get them. I also told her this story, and she laughed and left with a smile. TLDR, weird guy hackles backwards on deal. Girl leaves happy. P.S. The guy offered as low as another 25% lower to half price, in case some are wondering. There's a lot of speculation in the comments that this story is fake, because back then, the internet wasn't as common, and ordering online, let me see what, I read a comment earlier when it was, something similar to Craigslist, but specific in your country in the 90s. Dude, the internet was first available August 6, 1991, and Craigslist was invented in 1995. This gives me serious doubts about this story. You would have also had to order all the parts via a catalog or phone. How do you screw up and order multiple parts? At this point, all parts were very specific to their brand, and you couldn't just buy any part and fit it together. That's Trey's Freaker, and not your typical Redditor. Maybe it was France. They had Minitel in the 80s. I don't think this story is true either, but there is a chance. And Trey's Freaker replies again. Singapore also had something similar to Minitel in the late 80s as well, but even so, if the writer said 2000s instead of 90s, it would be more believable. So, and then not your typical Redditor replies back, well, if nothing else, the TLDR of the story was mildly amusing. It was. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I don't know if it was true or not, but if it was, I mean, interesting. Be an interesting story. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this story is true? Let me know in the comments. All right, my dudes, that is the end of this video. If you liked it, please hit that like button. If you didn't, tell me why you didn't like it. And, let's be respectful. I'm always down to have a, civilized conversation with people. Tell me why you didn't like it, and maybe I'll fix it. You never know. Maybe it's something that other people don't like about my videos. So let me know if you did like it. If you didn't like it, spill the tea. I want to hear it. And yeah, if you're new here, please consider hitting the subscribe button and the bell notification so you are always notified when I have future videos, so you never miss one. And as always, the links to these stories will be in the description. So head on over to Reddit, my dudes, and show those posters some love by giving their stories some upvotes, because you know they fucking deserve it. And wow, you are in the enchanted land of Reddit. Stop on over to r/Reddit Fairy and post your stories, my dudes, because you never know. They just might show up in the next episode. So until next time, have a great day, my dudes.